Hello everyone, good morning. Today we are going to start with a new unit, that is second unit. In the previous topic we have completed white box testing of first unit. And if you want to conduct white box testing, you need the knowledge about the coding, logic and the inside working of the software. That knowledge is needed if you want to conduct white box testing. Now from the second unit we are going to start with black box testing. So first let us understand what is a black box testing. So this is what black box testing. So black box testing is like you cannot see inside what is there. You're just supplying the input and you're just know what the outcome is. You're supplying the input and you're getting the output. This is what black box testing. So how this box is prepared, what is there inside and how inside it works, you don't have that knowledge. So if you want to conduct black box testing, you don't need to understand the coding, the logic and all. You just need to understand what input you are going to supply and what output you want, and whether you are getting according to your expectation output or no. So you are going to supply different inputs and you are going to observe the outputs. For example, to find factorial of a number, you are just providing the input, different input. Like when you provide the input as 0, then you are going to observe what output you will get, and then you are going to provide the input as 5 and you are going to observe what output you will get. Or you are also going to provide the negative value -1 and see what output you are getting. So this is what black box testing. You don't know how that program is done and how it is written. Your just work is to test whether that particular functionality works or no. See, knows only what the software is supposed to do. That is, it knows what it is going to do. You don't know what is there inside that. Does not know how it operates inside. Why name as black box testing? You cannot see inside the box. Now let us understand why black box testing. Black box testing is based on requirements. So the main focus of black box testing is testing each and all requirements from the software requirement specification document. So one by one requirement you are going to take and you are going to see whether it is all requirements are whether according to the client's expectation or no. Black box testing addresses the stated requirements as well as implied requirements. So there are two types of requirements, explicit requirements and implicit requirements. Explicit requirements are those which are already searched, gathered and documented, and implicit requirements which are not known in advance, like whether to include the dates or no, page header, footer for the documents or the page. So such type of requirements comes under implicit requirements. And next is test the correctness of the functionality with the help of inputs and outputs. So each functionality you are going to test with various inputs and outputs. So you are going to select different inputs, and based on that you are going to observe how that functionality works for particular input and how you are getting the output. User does not require the knowledge of software code. Black box testing handles both valid and invalid inputs. So using in a black box testing, both types of input you need to supply, valid as well as invalid, correct input as well as wrong input. Let us understand black box testing with an example. So this is a registration function, and the registration function is used in most of the softwares. So using this registration form, they take the details from the customers or the users, and see, when the user is registering, the users may enter sometimes valid data and sometimes invalid data. See, when the user is entering the first name, he may also enter the numbers instead of characters. And even here, when the user is entering the email, he may also enter the valid email, or sometimes he may not enter the email in a not proper format. And the password also, some of the users may enter correct password, and even the confirm password can be correct, but sometimes these two passwords may not match with each other. So such type of data the user might enter. So as a black box tester, your responsibility is to test this form properly for both both valid and invalid input, and how the software is behaving for that particular input. You're going to observe it, and you're going to report that to the developers so that they can modify it and correct the registration form. Another example we'll see, lock and key. So in our daily life, we'll be using one or someday lock and key, and we already know why we use lock and key: to lock the door and to unlock the door, so that our things are secured with this lock and key. So we don't know how is the inside structure of lock. We only know the set of inputs and the expected output. So when we use the lock, if a key is turned clockwise, it should lock, and if turned anti-clockwise, it should unlock. So we know that how the input should be provided to this lock. If we turn clockwise, the lock will be locked, and if we turn anti-clockwise, the lock will be unlocked. So it is not necessary to understand that how the lock is constructed. We only know a set of inputs to provide and what the output it is going to give. So as a black box tester, what functionalities you need to know to use the lock are. So features of lock. So you should know what are the features of lock. So it is made of metal, and it has a hole provision to lock, and has a facility to insert the key, and the keyhole ability to turn anti-clockwise or clockwise. And what are the features of key? Again, it is made of metal and created to fit into that particular lock's keyhole. What actions are performed? Key inserted and turn clockwise to lock. Key inserted and turn anti-clockwise to unlock. So what are its states? Locked and unlocked. And what input you are going to supply? Key turn clockwise or anti-clockwise. And what is your expected output? Locking and unlocking. So as a black box tester, you need to understand all these requirements of that particular function. It attempts to find errors in the following categories. So incorrect or missing functions. So from this you will understand which are the like from the requirements which are given, you will understand which are the missing requirements, missing functions, or which of the requirements functions are not working properly. So that you will understand. And interface errors. So using a black box testing, you will understand interface errors, because in a black box testing, you are going to test on the interface pages or the interface looks, because like whiteboard testing, you're not going to go inside the software like in a coding and all, and you're going to test it. You're going to test a software, various interfaces, various pages, and what type of errors you find out on the interfaces, that will be find it out in this black box testing. Errors in data structure of external database or access. Yes, whatever the input you are supplying, whether it is storing in the database or no, and whether it is retrieving from the database or no, and what type of data structures you are storing, you are accessing, this all, and whether there are errors or no, whether your software is able to connect to the database or no. These all things you are going to test in a black box testing. Sometimes what happen, it will show that the functionality is working, but it is not storing in the database, and it is also not retrieving from the database. So if there are errors in this, it will find out. behavior or performance based errors. Okay, now see, everybody wants the good performance software. If the software is very slow and it is not giving its best performance, response is very slow from the software, so such type of softwares will be not accepted. So even in this black box testing, so how to improve the performance of the performance of the software and how its behavior can be improved will be tested here. Next, initialization or termination errors. Sometimes when you are coming out from one functionality to another functionality, or it is giving some wrong values, that can be also tested. When to do black box testing? Testers can get involved right from the requirements gathering and analysis phase for the system. Test scenarios and test data are prepared. As I told you, testing has to be applied from the beginning only. You need to involve the testers from the beginning only. So from the beginning only the testers start working on the software, and from the beginning only lot of errors can be removed out in the beginning phase, and so that later on the software will not face the problem. And at the beginning you're going to design the test scenarios and test data are prepared, and at the end when the software is developed it can be executed. So when you're preparing the software based on the requirements, test scenarios and test data can be prepared, and here lot of errors you can minimize. So how to do black box testing? So there are various methods to perform the black box testing: requirement based testing, positive and negative testing, boundary value analysis, decision tables, equivalence partitioning, state based testing, compatibility testing, user testing document, and domain testing. So these all types of testing we are going to study one by one. So today we have seen all about black box testing. In the next topic we'll see the various methods of black box testing. Thank you.